Magliarditi here, your host of today's Freedom Series live stream session. And I'm honored to have a dear friend and I don't know, what else would you say? Dear friend and...
No, colleague sounds a bit cold, doesn't
teammate?
it?
Dear friend, family member and team member of the Game Changers as well. Samantha Wallis, welcome to the show this morning.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Yeah. I've been waiting for this episode since we started 4 weeks ago because you played such a tremendous part in in kind of getting everything in here out into this. And so I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Before we kick off though, I guess I'd love you to kind of share a little bit about like who you are, what it is you do. Like you're a phenomenal direct response copywriter. You've worked alongside us here at the Game Changers for like, I don't know, like it's been at least 4 years, maybe more.
Yeah, over 4 years now, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And been such a tremendous support within our company as well. Like I know that we're one of a few amazing clients that you do have. Do you want to just share a little bit about what it is that you do?
Yeah, so I primarily write direct response copy, which is basically words that sell or words that are designed to get a response or an action. So as opposed to more content writers who will write blogs and just general content online, direct response copywriting, it's got a very specific purpose and it's very measurable, which is part of what I love about it because it's sales psychology, it's conversation, it's human behavior all wrapped into one. So it's a really cool rabbit hole that I've been going down over the past many years, learning, and I'll always be learning, which is what's really fun about it.
I love that. I love that. And look, if you're watching us live this morning, welcome to the show. So grateful that you are here. We'd love to make this as interactive as possible. So please post all your questions below wherever you're watching this, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever it is. Please post all your questions below. And Rafi from my team is, he's probably got like a million screens open up in his house, like checking in on all the comments so he can send them through to us here. Rafi, good morning, mate. So grateful that you're here. I know that you're up late last night with me from Amber from the States on our live stream session. So I'm grateful to have you on the team and grateful for your support this morning. Also, just hit the like button. Let us know that you are actually watching these shows as well. We've had a phenomenal experience. Like I think we've hit over 200,000 views in the past 4 weeks since we started this. And as I said, Sam, I've really been looking forward to sitting down with you because, you know, I've wanted to for a while write a book, and I had a lot of stuff come up around it because, you know, growing up, I wasn't very good. I'm not very good with spelling and grammar and things like that. Writing's certainly not my strong point. I think I can write a pretty mean Facebook ad, but that's about as far as it goes. And you're an integral part of that. You know, obviously connected with you and said, Sam, I've got a book in me. I want to get it out. How can we make this happen? And we really kind of kicked off the journey. I think it was like mid-January.
Yeah, mid-January, we finally pressed the go button.
Yeah. So I guess for people watching, this was the way that it rolled out. You know, I had this book in me, wanted to get it done, but also knew that I was not the best person to do it. And so practicing what I preach in all areas of business and life, I reached out to Sam and said, hey, Sam, like, how can we make this happen? And the suggestion came up that we would jump on a Zoom call once a week for 14 weeks. I'd already designed the chapter structure of what I wanted to share, had no idea what was going to be inside each chapter, but I knew the kind of core concepts that I wanted to get across. I knew our 9 steps because it's a methodology we've used for a long time here at the Game Changers. And Sam's like, well, hey, let's just jump on a Zoom call once a week. You can kind of like word vomit all of what you want to share around that particular chapter. And I will go on like, you know, move and shape it into where it's legible to be able to kind of read. I guess the question I've got for you, like Sam, was how was that experience for you from the get-go?
So much fun. It was so much fun. I think it was a lot easier than both of us had anticipated it would be. It really flowed naturally. I think I remember your feedback, Barry, that you were saying that, you know, for some of our meetings, we just kind of ended up going, whoa, I didn't know it was going to go there. The conversation just went where it needed to go. And, you know, you trusted your instincts and you trusted me. And thank you for that. And yeah, it was a dream, really. It was fantastic fun, and I'm loving the end result. I'm really, really excited to hear that we're starting to get really positive feedback for it. So yeah, it's just been great.
Yeah, the feedback's been nothing short of amazing. Like, I put a message up on social yesterday. I had someone come through who was actually got one of the manuscripts in the beginning. So I sent the manuscript out to get some feedback from half a dozen people, and he came back and said, "I'm just blown away at the power of this book. I've actually just bought a copy for my GM, and this is our new business Bible." And it was funny because I spoke to someone yesterday and they referred to it the same way. This is our new business Bible. And I was like, shit, like, it's interesting because, as you said, like, it was way easier than I anticipated. And I think that that's a little bit of a representation of a lot of things that we face in life, is that the perception around the pain or the struggle or, you know, trying to get something perfect is actually what stops us from moving forwards, rather than just deciding that something's important enough, or that we want to achieve something and finding a way to get there. Like, we probably could have had this conversation 2 years ago. Back then, like, I believed that I had to be the one that wrote it. I believed that I had to be the one that sat in front of my computer, you know, painstakingly writing every single word and making it all look and sound right. Yet what I'm good at is being able to speak on topics, and I know my content. And I guess that was something that blew me away, was how much I knew on each particular part when asked the question to kind of go deeper on that as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that it's also a reflection of where you are at in your journey right now, as in, you know, perhaps you couldn't have written it 2 years ago because back then you were in a different mindset. Whereas now you've evolved both personally and within your business, in that you understand that these are the things that you do, and for the other things you hire somebody that knows more than you do, and you trust in the process, and you focus on just one step at a time and just trust that it's going to work out, and it did.
yeah, like super quick. I'm curious to know though, like, going through, because although you've been involved with our company for a long period of time, and you've written a lot of copy through our email sequences and landing pages and things like that, and obviously you're very over like our content and the videos and things we put up there. I'm curious to know, like, what were some of the standout points of the book for you? Like, what were some of the key things that you read or that you kind of heard us discuss, that you're like, oh shit, like, I didn't know that, or I didn't realize that? Is there anything that stands out for you?
Oh my gosh, I loved the way you systemize systems. The whole system for writing systems just blew me away, because although I've got a very creative side with the copywriting, you know, in my previous career, I was an administrator. So I've got that very practical, technical side to me as well. And that practical side it was just a complete game changer for me, because I thought, because I've been trying to systemize my own business, and I've been trying to do it all myself. Like you were just saying with, you know, the book, you were thinking that you had to do it all yourself, and just knowing that I could create one system and then have other people create other systems for me based off that original system, it was like,
like the Matrix.
Yeah, I can see the Matrix now. I just loved it. And so I've actually started implementing that in my own business, or I'm about to. So
yeah. I think it's chapter, I can't remember what chapter it is, but in chapter like 7, 8 is all about systems. And as I said, like, we teach people the system for writing systems. Now, that's the only system you should create, but you don't even have to create it because we've given it to you in the book as well. And once you create some fundamental frameworks around that, like, i.e. how you store documents in your cloud software and so forth like that, it's very easy to then go and have team members create systems for their roles based on the master system, which means that, you know, there's no excuse to not systemize. I think that's something that keeps a lot of business owners stuck, is that they are quite creative like yourself. They know that they need systems because the same shit keeps happening, or they're unable to hire staff, they're unable to scale. Yet what stops them, and I know it certainly stopped me in my earlier business, was the fact that I felt I had to be the one that created it all. Yeah.
I also really loved the chapter on values as well. That really blew my mind in a very spiritual way. I know it's one of your favorites as well. And especially the part where you explain how your values are, well, they're not just something that's on a wall. They're a representation of your standards in within your business and within yourself as well. And if you don't have standards, then what are you even all about? Like, what are you even in business for? What are you even doing with your life? Basically,
Yeah.
it reflects against every part of your life, and it's just so important.
And it's a very, very, they're very, very, very powerful decision-making tools. Like that's the thing, is that when you go through and implement what we share in the book, you have a framework to make decisions. And I think decisions can have the ability, and I was speaking to, I had an amazing live stream session last night with Amber Vilhausen, who's my book launch director from the States. And, you know, we're just so aligned a lot with our past journeys, but also a lot of our beliefs now. And I was only saying on a few shows earlier what she brought up again last night, which is around decisions. And the reality is that you are where you are right now, Sam, based on a lot of micro and macro decisions that you've made over your life. That's what's led you to where you are right now, as it has for me. And what that means is that regardless of where we're at right now, whether we are in an amazing place, whether we feel loved and fulfilled, and, you know, we have an abundance of the things that we'd like or not, it's just the result of a bunch of decisions. And so therefore, if you can be where you are and I can be where I am, anyone can be where they choose to be as well. Now, they might not be there right away, but they can be through making different decisions. Yet often, sometimes those decisions, you know, can feel a little bit uncomfortable, but this is where, like, having a value structure in place, it makes it a lot easier for us to make decisions based on that, because our values align with our mission and with our vision. Right? And so when we're making decisions based on our values, we're making decisions based on moving closer towards that we wish to achieve most.
Yeah.
Got a couple of questions coming in. If you are watching live, welcome to the show. Please post all your questions and comments below. I'll get to them in just a second. Before I do, though, Sam, the most impactful chapter for me was chapter 14, entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I freaking bawled my eyes out sharing that. And I had no idea that what was going to come out of me was going to come out of me at all in that chapter. Like, I was like, oh, today's chapter's on entrepreneurship. Like, what do I even believe about entrepreneurship? And I sat in the question for about a week before we caught up.
Yeah.
How was that for you to, I guess, both that chapter and the chapter that we deep dive around mindset as well?
It was a real honor to be able to be there for you and with you and write that with you. It was not only enlightening for me, because I was learning new things about mindset and entrepreneurship that I had in a way that I hadn't thought about before, but also that it was kind of, you know, we couldn't have written chapter 14. We couldn't have started with that at the beginning. Like, you had to go through that experience of us doing all of the chapters previously. And then it was like a combination of the journey so far, both in your business over the last, how many years?
Yeah, 18.
18 years, yeah. And over, you know, the previous 13, 14 chapters that we'd written before. And so it was perfect timing, perfect ending. And it was like another stage of growth opened up for you. Yeah.
The real crazy thing was that, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, is that, like, we started writing this book pre-COVID. Like, COVID was kind of happening in China, but it was heavily suppressed back then. It certainly wasn't in Australia. The States weren't experiencing it. We started pre-COVID and we ended like right in the thick of it, like April. We ended it, I think it was end of April.
Yeah.
Was when we finished the book, which was like, you know, everything was locked down. No one was going outside, like crazy, crazy times. But it was interesting, the journey that I went through in that process of self-discovery within me as well, and reflection over the last 18 years. And you're right, like, I wanted to start with mindset. I actually wanted to write the whole book around mindset, because I believe so heavily that we never have business problems. We have personal problems that get expressed through our business, that our business will never outgrow the founder. And so therefore we need to work more on ourselves than we do our business if we want things to keep growing and evolving. And I've believed that for a long time. But we've just tested it so many times when it comes to marketing, and mindset just doesn't sell the same way as, like, promising someone to get their time back, or, you know, make more sales or generate more leads. And so that's where I wanted to start. But you're right, like, the reason we chose to put it in the end is because people could go through and get a tangible things to actually implement their business. And in saying that, like, every chapter's got psychology in it. Like, that's the beautiful thing. We do want the mindset and the shifts we need to make in the identity of self through doing that process is to then come to the very end, which is like where we land the plane around how important mindset actually is, and how that is the number one thing stopping you from having that which you most want.
It absolutely is. And everybody needs to work on their mindset, but most people, some people don't think that they do, or that they don't realize that they do. And it's not until you sort of go through a similar process of what you go through when you read the book that you realize, oh, actually, I can know all of these things. I can know every marketing trick or technique or whatever. I can know how to run a business on paper. But unless you work on what's here, you'll sabotage, you'll hold yourself back. You know, I know this personally. I'm sure that a lot of people personally, you know, you've got your imposter syndrome, you've got your fear of success, your fear of failure. All of these little dynamics are playing out in your head all of the time. And most of us don't even realize it until you start to sort of dig a bit deeper and find out what's really going on and unlock those doors within yourself. And when you do, you know, as evidenced through the people that you're working with in the Game Changers, just everything shifts in business and in life. It's amazing.
Absolutely. I'd love to jump into some questions, then I want to jump into your story a little bit, Sam. Before I do, though, if you are wanting to get a copy of the book, Rafi from my team will put a link below. It launches officially on the 3rd of August, the day after my birthday, which is on Monday. And up until Sunday midnight, we've got a bunch of bonuses we're giving away with a copy of the book as well. There's a heap of trainings, there's templates, there's a whole bunch of things we're giving away. Like a business has between 4 to 9 core processes. And a core process is almost like a flow chart around, you know, like a flow chart for how you sell or how you market or how you hire great people or how you manage your finances. And if you purchase the book through the link that Rafi puts below now, before Sunday night, midnight, we'll give you the core processes that we have within our business, the Game Changers, and they're processes that will relate and sit across any business as well with very little modification to them. So put the link below now, grab a copy of the book. And I also recommend too, to get a copy for your employees, because the one thing you'll find, especially if you've got a team, is if you go to try to implement this, you're gonna get a lot of kickback from your team. It happens every single time. Every single time our clients go to implement process systems, they get pushed back from their team because it's like, oh God, Sam's got another great idea she wants us to do. And all they can see is that it costs more time for them to go and put it in place. Yet 100% of the time when our clients go through and work with their staff to put systems in place, very quickly their staff become on board with the process because they see the impact it has to their particular roles, how much time they have, how much happier they are, and how much less mistakes the business has. So, you know, what I've recommended to everyone and what a bunch of people have done is to purchase copies for their employees and work out like an implementation program over 3 months where it's like they read a chapter together as a team for a week, they catch up, they discuss it during a weekly meeting, and then they decide what they're going to implement as a team so that everyone's bought into the process they're putting in place, but also the staff can actually see what you're trying to create as the visionary of the business. So a couple of questions here. If you are watching live, please put your questions below. Absolutely get them answered for you. Lee from Adelaide. Sam's library behind her is well stocked. Could you share what are the top 3 books for improving direct response, copywriting, and style? Great question, Lee. Welcome to the show, dude.
It is a great question, and there are so many. Like, this is probably one of the most popular questions in every copywriting group I've ever been in online, and everybody's got a different answer. I think you know, it's the standout is the Halbert letters. Just get them, read them several times. There are more sort of intense texts like Breakthrough Advertising, which
Eugene Schwaltz. That was one of mine. Top 3.
It's very dense, but it's brilliant. I think the first copywriting book that I ever read, actually, which started my journey, was The Copywriter's Handbook by Bob Bly. It's really accessible for a complete beginner who has no idea or a little idea about copywriting. Oh gosh, what's the third one? I've got one right here. Web copy that sells.
Great Leads.
Great Leads. Yeah. That's good.
So great Leads, Breakthrough Advertising. Breakthrough Advertising, you'll be lucky to get a copy. If you do, you'll spend about $1,000 for it, but it's worth every single penny. The Boron Letters, absolutely. Robert Collier letter book.
I haven't read that one.
Oh, Sam, put that on your list.
Yes,
Robert Collier.
I will. Okay. But yeah, and one of the best things that you can do is just start reading and studying actual copy. You know, I've got a big swipe file on my computer of landing pages, emails, Facebook ads, just things that stood out to me that I know were either successful because a great copywriter wrote them or because they actually appealed to me personally, which is also, you know, part of the job of a copywriter. Start studying them, break down, you know, what's happening in each section of the copy, and oh, this is what they were trying to do here and this is what they were trying to do there. You'll start seeing patterns, and that's a really good way of learning as well, just learning by looking at what's working.
Yeah, love that. Question from Keith from Sydney. They say writers' past experiences add flavour and character to one's writing style. What previous work or experiences does Sam draw from?
Wow.
Thanks for the question, Keith.
It's funny you say that, because I always wanted to be a writer. When I was a little kid, I always loved to read, and I'd write little stories. I was going to be a novelist. I'd write little stories to myself, and I thought, no, I can't be a novelist until, you know, I'm decades older than I am now, because I've had no life experience. Whereas where I'm at now, I think what informs my copywriting the most is the experiences that I've had learning about online marketing, traveling, talking to different people from different cultures, different societies, or even just different people within your own community. Good copywriting is about knowing your audience really well and knowing people really well. So the more people that you can talk to and understand their motivations, their fears, their desires, the better you can start to talk to people in print.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that. Great questions. Keep the questions coming through, guys. So Sam, is that where this started for you? Like growing up, writing novels?
Yeah, writing little stories for myself. I always just loved doing it. And it was a long time after that I actually started thinking about going into business for myself and doing something for myself in terms of writing. I'd always tinkered around with, you know, doing something online. I remember I built my first website back in the early 2000s.
Wow.
Very difficult. This is way before WordPress, before PayPal, and all of these magical things now that make life very, very easy to start a business online. And I tinkered with, you know, various e-commerce sites and blogging sites and affiliate sites. So I'd always kind of wanted to do something for myself and been very fascinated with the things that you can do online. But I worked a long time as an employee before I actually went out on my own. It was probably about 5 years ago now that I actually started freelancing. So yeah, it's been a good journey.
Yeah. And how is it now, like freelancing and working for yourself and working with the clients that you do?
How is it now?
Yeah,
Amazing. So freeing. It's funny. The other day, I was talking to somebody and I said to them, I'll never work for a boss again. And in the moment, I thought, oh, that's a really precocious thing to say. Like, but then I started thinking, actually, I won't, because I have built this business and this skill, and it's something that I don't have to go back to anymore. So that sense of freedom, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Talk me through the mindset a little bit around first transitioning to work for yourself. What was that like for you? Terrifying.
And like, I'm a person that I'm a very anxious person anyway. I deal with anxiety a lot. And so at the very beginning, it was like, and this is where it gets back to mindset, because I was just freaking myself out all day, every day about all of the ways that it could go wrong. You know, if I put myself out there by reaching out to somebody, what if they laughed at me? What if they rejected me? Whatever. All of these things were kind of crashing down on me and trying to stop me from moving forward. So I made a deal with myself. I said at the beginning, like, if I can just do one thing a day, just one thing, then that's okay. I was gentle with myself, and I just focused on doing that one thing a day that sort of frightened me. And the more I did the one thing a day, the easier it got, the more one things I did. And eventually, you know, I'm at the point now where the things that used to freak me out don't freak me out as much or hardly ever anymore. And I've evolved. And
Yeah.
that's why you just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
I think that's a really great approach that anyone can take. Any entrepreneur can take at any stage of business as well. And it's something we touched on last night's episode with Amber as well, is being okay to lead into the uncomfortable. And I think that's a great process, is that far too often I feel we try to kind of eat the elephant, like the whole thing at once, so to speak, as opposed to one bite at a time. And so, you know, if we can take a moment to step back, disassociate ourselves from the perception of where we think we should be for all that we've done and all that we've learned and how old we are and all that other bullshit that we tell ourselves in the head, if we can kind of separate ourselves from that perception and go, cool, I'm just going to keep taking one step towards my dreams, one step towards my goals every single day. Now, sure, you might not get there in the unrealistic time frame that you have for yourself. But as long as every day you're taking a step forward, you absolutely will get there as well. I got a bunch more questions coming in as well. Welcome to the show, everyone who's here. Please keep your questions coming. We love questions. We love the interaction. Hit the like button. Let us know you're here. Lee says, thanks for the answer. If Sam would launch her own passion project, what would it be? A book or a new game changer? What would a passion project be?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. I've actually got a few passion projects on the side. The thing that I love the most is learning. So my passion projects, they're all very, they're all kind of out of my comfort zone, and they all involve me having to learn something new. So for me, a passion project isn't necessarily about reaching an end goal. It's about learning something new. So I'm trying a few different online models that I'm really interested in at the moment. So I've got a Shopify store, I'm running some e-commerce stuff, I'm running an affiliate site as well. I'm just always really, really interested in all of the things that you can do online. So, you know, I don't have any, big dreamy goals of being this type of person or achieving this sort of thing. What I love is the process.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Love that. Got a question here from Angel from Bali. Welcome to the show, Angel. Learned most of her writing from Barry, me, I'm sure that's me, from reading a year's worth of your writings. Love your work. My question is, how do you fast track writing in somebody else's voice, and how do you keep your own voice biases out of it? Such a fantastic question. And that's what I'll say. One thing I love most about the work we've done together, Sam, is that you do write like me. And I've always sort of said that. And that's not like being egotistical. It's not the Barry show. That's not the point. But, you know, like your business has to have a brand. It has to have a voice. It has to have a story. Now, of course, it's easiest when you first start off to be that of the CEO, of the visionary. And as I said, one thing that's always impressed me is that you'll watch a content video that I've recorded or a training for our clients, and you turn it into an email sequence, or you turn it into some sort of direct response copy that looks and feels and sounds like me. So Angel's question, like, how do you fast track writing in somebody else's voice, and how do you keep your own voice biases out of it?
One word, immersion. So I immerse myself in my client's world as much as possible. So, you know, for instance, for you, Barry, that's meant I've been behind the scenes. I've been the little ghost in the machine, you know, within your program, all over your Facebook, your videos. I've been in there, you know, pretty solidly for the last 14 years. I've picked up on your language patterns, on the words that you like to use. I've gotten to know you personally as well, which means that I know that, oh, this is the type of thing that Barry would say, and this isn't the type of thing that Barry would say. I don't know if there's any way to fast track that other than just spend a lot of time just immersing yourself in as much content and as much of your client's world as you can, whether that be videos or if you set up a series of interviews with the clients and then record them with their permission, of course, and then sort of watch them back and get to know the language patterns and the words. Yeah, that's how I would do it. That's how I do it.
It's almost like being an undercover agent, isn't it? Like having to take on board this persona of like a gangster or a hitman or whatever it is you're trying to emulate. You know, being so deeply entrenched that you are almost emulating that person themselves. Yeah, I love that. And Angel as well. Like Angel's worked with us for I think a couple of years now, and her writing is just freaking unbelievable as well. And I've noticed a big shift even recently into it's funny because you guys both write copy for us in different areas of the business, yet they're starting to look and sound the same, even though it's two completely different people that write. just amazing. Tell us what have been some of the funnest projects you've worked on over your time?
Oh, definitely the book is up there. You know, that was huge fun. I love writing for, gosh, what else have I loved? I've written a few really snazzy little lead gen funnels for clients. There's one client I have, she's a sort of a corporate image coach, and a little funnel that I wrote for, she made this brilliant quiz. And I wrote an email funnel for her, upselling people into a like a discovery call with the view to become a client after they download their quiz and get their quiz results. And she said to me the other day, she said, all I have to do is run ads to that funnel, and whenever I want a client, I just turn on the ads and I pick up a couple of clients. So, you know, that's really, yeah, that means a lot to me that I'm actually, you know, helping her with her business as well. And so I think it's projects like that, projects where I know that everything's working, the results are great, and you know, the clients are really happy. It sounds like a bit of a a bit of a wishy-washy thing to say, but
not really. Yeah, amazing. I would do a pitch for you, but I know that you don't have capacity to take on board more work.
Not right now, but maybe in the future.
yeah, maybe in the future. I guess that's the thing, is that when you're good at what you do, like, you shouldn't have to necessarily look for work unless you do have ambitions to grow a much bigger company as well. Like, you've got amazing clients that come back time and time again because of the amazing work that you do as well for them. Question I've got, Sam, I like to kind of ask all of our guests, is that if you were to have a conversation with a 10-year-old version of you, you know, knowing what you know now and having been through all your life experiences, what advice would you give to her?
Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself a lot more, and trust the process. Don't expect to be, it's like what you say all of the time, Barry, you can't compare your chapter 3 to somebody else's chapter 10, you know, comparing where you are to where somebody else is, or where you think you should be in life or in business. It's just a recipe for a whole lot of pain. So I'd just say, Sam, believe in yourself a bit more. Don't wait so long to start your own business, because it's been awesome and amazing, and you could probably always have done it, but you never believed it. So that's probably what I would say. And that's what I would say to anybody out there who's listening, who, you know, they've got an idea or they've got a drive to go out on their own and do something for themselves. Just start. You know, you don't have to be a millionaire in 2 years or anything like that. You just need to take one step a day. Just push through any fear or any imposter syndrome that you're dealing with, and just have a little bit of belief in yourself. Get some good mentors around you like Barry, who know what they're doing. Trust them, trust the process, and just get started. Yeah, I love that. Along with what you shared earlier too, around just, you know, every day just taking one step forwards. Step forwards. Just realize that although you take one step, you might not be at your destination, but if you continue to take a step forwards every day, eventually you will actually get there. And what you'll find is that the steps you take in the beginning are maybe a lot smaller steps, because you do lack the knowledge, you do lack the skill set, and you do lack the belief. But the more you go along, and I was sharing this last night episode as well, it's like a rocket uses majority of its fuel just getting off the ground. And then once the thing's actually off the ground in flight, it uses a lot less to get to its destination. It's the same thing too with anything we do. Like, often a lot of the effort is up front, all right, for very little reward. But through us showing up and continuing to put the effort in, then it requires a lot less effort for a lot greater reward later in the track. And like, I like what you said too around comparing the chapters, is that, you know, for me personally, it was probably up until 12 months ago, like, I did have this comparison thing. Like, I'd look at other people in the industry, I'd look at other people that I knew, and I would compare where I perceived that they were, not necessarily where they were, because how could I ever really know where they were or what they're dealing with? Like, I was comparing myself, and what I say is, like, I was comparing my behind the scenes footage to their highlight reel. Yes. Yeah. So, you know, I compared that, and
to be honest, that was a massive self-sabotage because it always left me feeling worthy, the lack of worth, and felt shitty about myself.
Yeah.
But it was like the moment that I stopped comparing myself to others and just, stayed in my own lane and focused on what I did have and what I was grateful for and what I could impact and what I could do, everything seemed to change. And it's like this whole experience of like living my life, looking for approval of others or looking to fit in to a certain status quo, shifted completely to where, my level of happiness and fulfillment's changed, but so has the results in every area of my life as well. And I don't think that's a coincidence in that. I think that as a society, we care so much about what Mr. and Mrs. Jones think that we don't care enough about what we think about us and focus our energy and attention on cleaning up the thoughts that we have about ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any final words from you, Sam? I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, me too. Final words. Just believe in yourself. If you want to start something, start it. Take one step at a time. Just everything that I've just basically just said.
Yeah, I love that. That's sound advice. And if you want to get a copy of my book, the link should be below. And look, don't just get a copy. I'd love to hear your review. Like once you get it, once you read it, once you implement it, you got to implement it though. I'd love to hear the feedback as well around how you go about putting things in place. The feedback so far has been amazing. And I just am hungry to get that feedback because I think that's how we grow, is taking on board the feedback and deciding what we do with it from there. So, Sam, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Again, so
My pleasure.
That you've done to help put all of my words into a book. I'm so grateful for the work that you do, and I'm also grateful for the people that we get to serve together as a result of the book. So thank you so much for that. And thank you to everyone who's joined us this morning, wherever you are in the world. Appreciate you, and look forward to seeing you in the next live stream session.